guys know each other, and it's alright. Question 1. Okay. Right. How many of you actually, where did you guys hear about Python the first time? Yeah, in bits, what did you hear about it? What do you know about Python? What do you think Python is? Right. Guys, if you want the session to move on fast and eventually get some kind of information, you will need to speak up fast. Anything. This is a really vague question, and like all my questions, all my questions will be really vague, so that I get some kind of output from you guys. What do you think Python is, or what do you know Python is? Now, how do you write? Okay, Python is easy to learn and user-friendly. What? Programming language. Right. So did I hear scripting language in there? Okay. Generally, what happens is when I go to someone and show, at some point of time, I tell that someone that I'm a Python programmer, and in all probability that someone would be a recent pass out and working in companies like big companies like Infosys and Wipro and whatnot. So I tell them that, alright, I generally code all my programs in Python. So they say, right, so that's a scripting language, right? And you get this kind of vibe that, why would you be having Goa for dinner? Paddy. So it's a breakfast food, right? Why are you having it for dinner and lunch and stuff like that? So essentially, people call Python a scripting language, and they're not wrong. Okay, Python is also a scripting language. It's not just a scripting language. If you ask me, it is the scripting language. But then I'm a huge Python fan, so I can ramble about Python all night. So right. So we had. I just spoke a long sentence which involves scripting language like 6 times. What's a scripting language? Anything. Okay. Give me an example of scripting language. Don't say Python because.
JavaScript.
JavaScript.
Perl. So again, just like Python, Perl is not just a scripting language, but then it's a really good scripting language. Shell scripting. Most of you definitely have seen the .dat files on your Windows systems. It's been more than like 8 years I have seen it, but then again. So what you have is, okay, what is a BAT file? It's a batch file. What does it have? Have you tried opening a batch file? It essentially contains lines of commands. So when you double click on it or execute the batch file, so what happens is that first command gets executed, then the second, then the third, and fourth, and so on. So that's essentially what scripting does. So that's why you get a bad vibe when someone says this is Python scripting language. Right? So it's not just that. It's obviously that's how Python works. It works by interpreting, one line, then the next line, and next line. Just the same way your Bash scripting does. Just the same way Perl works. Just the same way someone said JavaScript, right? JavaScript works. So you have another name for it. It's called an interpreted language, right? So I won't go into the difference between interpreted languages and compiled languages. The name should be enough. If you have a doubt, ask. All right. So let's start Python. You guys have Python installed. You guys know how to invoke the Python interpreter. Yes? No? Did I hear no? Yeah. So which operating system are you using? Windows. Linux? I can't hear you, sorry. Maybe you need a mic. Windows, right? So in Windows there should be a Python IDLE program somewhere. Yeah, you have it installed? You have Python installed, right? So the IDLE program should fire up your interpreter. So I'm not assuming too many Linux users in the crowd, which actually makes me sad, but what can I do about it? So, alright, is my mouse somewhere here? Right. Yeah. So, so Linux users or Windows users, essentially, if you want to try out Python, and this is what we're going to be doing this entire session. So if you want to try out Python, what you do is you just write Python, enter. Is it readable, guys? Should I increase the font size or anything? It's readable, right? So we have Python 3.2.2 default now 20.2011. So this is the latest version of Python. So if you got your interpreters up, you will get this message. It's really important for this talk. For I want all of you to check which version of Python we are running.
Does version do matter?
Sorry?
Does version do matter?
Yeah.
2.7.
2.7.1, 2.7. Anyone with 3.x? What? Bad news, guys, because we won't be using Python 3. But then most of the things will work. Python 3 is the newest version of Python, which is not in tune with the Python which I know, which I'm going to teach, which almost like 90% of the Python community uses. Right, Python 3 has lots of improvements and lots of changes compared to Python 2. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you write a Python 2 program, it might not, there is a probability that it might not work on Python 3 and you will have to change the syntax a little bit, which won't be an issue because Python syntax is that easy. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this prompt. What I did is I just type Control D, you might want to do exit or quit. If your version is 3.x, so I have my Python 2.7 installed and it says hey. So this is Python 2.7.2, which I'm assuming is what the majority of you guys have. 2.x won't be an issue. If you have 3.x, if you're having trouble with whatever I'm typing and you can't replicate it, you just yell out. I'll tell you what kind of changes you might have to make. Right. So I'm not a Python 3.x expert, but I think I know enough to get my hands dirty on it. Right. So before we actually get into coding this, one last thing I want to say. I've already taken a lot of your time. One last thing which I want to say is that I am not going to teach you Python. You cannot learn Python in a 1-hour session, in a 1-week session, or a whole semester session. If you don't believe me, ask the guys who had enrolled in the PhD Python course. They'll tell you the same thing. So essentially, they did get their A's or B's or A minus or whatever I thought was right. But you cannot learn Python in a semester, in a week, in an hour, unless you try, unless you what? Unless you program in Python yourself. So essentially what I want to do is, by the end of this session, I would have given you guys enough information for you guys to have the knowledge and the motivation to try Python out for yourself. And if you're interested, I'm always here. You can ask me doubts, you can tell me that dude, you are teaching it wrong, or you're telling it wrong, or maybe you're missing out on something. Right. So as I told you, I don't have any slides prepared. Everything would be on Blackboard. So I am going to rely entirely on your doubts. You might want to ask me, okay, what's a for loop in Python? What's an if condition in Python? How does if condition work in C? If conditions are short circuited, does it happen in Python? Right. What are all the types in Python and whatnot? So without further ado, let's start. Any problems yet, guys? You need to keep on interrupting me, otherwise I'll just go into an infinite loop of sorts. Right. So the first thing I'm going to show you about Python is, okay, first thing I'll ask, Java users, how do you print hello world in Java? I do it all the time. I get this statistic defacing Java publicly. Can't help it, guys. That's how I am. Java programmers, very quick. Hello world. I will do it. So if I do system.out.println and okay, sorry for the caps, and hello world in Java. If I just type this in a file called a.java and execute it, it won't, right? You write a bunch of other stuff. You write your public static void main, string args, and you do all those crazy characters which is going a really bad smiley face, and then you write system.out.println hello world. Then what do? You compile it. Then you compile it by javac a.java. Then you get something called a.class. Okay, this might look like a really bad Java course, but this is the last time I'm going to be explaining Java to you. And then you go and execute Java space A. Am I wrong? No, right? Or am I right? Right, okay. I got some. So in Python, this doesn't work as expected. But if you want to write hello world, you write hello world. So this was my first Python program, and I really am glad that for some of you this is your first Python program. So there you go. You have hello world, you have print hello world, and you have hello world printed out. Right. So that's one plus point of having an interpreted language, that you can try things out and you can see it happening live in front of you. Right, but then the next time you want to write hello world program, you'll have to open this interpreter again and print hello world, which is not really productive. So there's another way of going about it. We'll go into that very shortly. So this is your basic print statement, and this is not really impressive. So now you can assume that you have your basic arithmetic done in Python. So let's see if that's true. I'll just increase the font size for you. That's it. So this might look prettier. So if I have 24 plus 43, there you go, you have 7. If I want the multiplication, you got 1032. So this is actually how I use Python for like 90% of my time. When I'm not writing any programs, I still want to use it as a calculator. Right, so essentially I have one Python console. This is my Python console, by the way. You can call it the Python interpreter, you can call it whatever you want. I have one Python console up and ready all the time. So, alright, so this you can do anywhere, right? So let me ask you something. What is 258 raised to power 20? So this is 258 raised to power 20. So make no mistake, what you see there is still an integer. It's a long integer, but still an integer. You can do all kinds of stuff like 255 raised to 20 plus 10 plus 20. Right. So if I'm interested in, if someone asks me, what's the last 5 digits of